Let's throw out the age-old question as to whether or not the 76ers can stay healthy during the regular season when they can't even, Keith, stay healthy in the offseason. We'll break down Paul George's injury and his surgery when we come back here on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Keith Pompey, Philly Inquirer writer for your 76ers. Marc Farzetta, I've been talking sports with you for about 20 years here in the city of Philadelphia. Sham Sharadia put the story out there yesterday. Sixers also put out a comment on it as well when it comes to Paul George needing off-season surgery, arthroscopic surgery on his knee for an injury suffered during his off-season workouts. Keith, I believe you could confirm this. We can't have nice things, can we?
No, we can't. We can't. And yeah, he had surgery yesterday. Now the good part is, from what I hear, is it was just a going in there cleaning. They didn't really deal with major ligaments in the knee or anything like that. So it's basically, he had it scoped out, cleaned up a little bit. But the bad thing is, to me, is one of those things where, we know he had knee problems since the preseason with the 76ers, right? Last preseason. And here you go, you're still having problems. And you had to get it, scoped. So a guy's 35 years old, it could mean nothing. But at the same time, like you said, we're still talking about injuries with the Sixers. And especially a couple of days after Daryl Morey came out and said that essentially all three of his big three, Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, need to be healthy for them to be NBA championship contenders. So this is something that you do not want to hear, especially from a guy who missed 41 games last year and 74 games during his tenure with the Clippers.
Yeah, also a guy coming off statistically his worst career year in about 8-9 years. So None of this is adding up well for the Sixers. And look, we got this out of the way yesterday. We talked about Daryl Morey's comments, and we talked about how, you don't have a chance unless Joel Embiid and Paul George are healthy. And then literally the Monday following the weekend that he made those comments, Paul George is going under the knife. Now, my first thought when you see the arthroscopic surgery and you're going, okay, it's probably a scope, you're cleaning it out and all that. But still, as you mentioned, Keith, you're talking about a 35-year-old with injury history issues throughout his NBA career. You're also talking about, $51.6 million owed just this year. Yeah. Goes up to $55 million, I think, next year. And then you got the player option. Not to mention Joel Embiid barely stepping onto a basketball court. And then there's also this. VJ Edgecombe, what's going on? What is going on with that? We'll get more specific into that in a second, but we don't even know. We hear from Daryl Morey, it goes from the thumb contusion to the thumb sprain. Then Daryl Morey throws the word wrist in there, and we're like, is this spreading? Is it going to be the elbow next week? Is it the shoulder? Like, the injury issues here with the 76ers are just mind-numbing, and I have no idea how the 76ers can inspire any confidence whatsoever from the fan base when they have no idea what they're buying for the upcoming season, other than the pretty good hunch that the Sixers are going to go through another injury-riddled season. And the unfortunate thing, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no first-round pick to tank for this year.
Yeah, and you know what? The big thing that really stood out with what you said, and before I say that, I want to make sure I had it right, get it right. He missed 127 games during his 5 years with the Clippers, not 170. That'd have been crazy. But anyway, so here's the deal. The thing that really stood out to me, that what you said was, you say you think of a scope, and we hear about okay, a scope isn't bad. People saying he just needs to get cleaned up. But when we go back to what was said about VJ Edgecombe, at first it was just a bruise. And then all of a sudden, it became a sprain. So when there's lack of transparency, people tend to always assume the worst. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that little boy that cried wolf. And
Absolutely.
then you're like, oh no, he's crying wolf. And then it's like, no, this is for real. Nah, man, stop playing. We know, you know what I mean? So right now it's like you don't know what to believe. And you want to believe it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, let's wait and see. And it's been the same thing with Joel Embiid. Like, hey, Joel, everything is fine. Then all of a sudden you find out there's knee swelling. He can't play, this and that. So yeah, this is the problem right now with that. But you look at it and you got to say to yourself, what's going on? Like, this is a reoccurring thing. It's always someone's getting hurt. You can't go 3 months without something happening. Now here, you can't even go a couple weeks without anything happening. So it's disappointing. And this isn't the way that you want to head into a season, regardless of how minor his surgery is. This isn't a way you want to go into the season.
Yeah, trust issues. I can understand that with the fan base. Trust issues when it comes to the 76ers. And look, I understand you're not going to come out and talk about everything with every injury and give every little detail on everything, but just be real about what the amount of time that could be missed by a player. For instance, you mentioned Joel Embiid, and that's the easiest one to go to, but you're talking about in history, you're talking about the whole Brian Colangelo didn't tear his meniscus. Okay, wait, he did tear his meniscus, and then he's out for the rest of the season. Or even before they put him out for the season, they still play him on that for a national game against James Harden and the Houston Rockets, and then he's done after that. You talk about Joel Embiid going to play in the Olympics after having surgery, playing in the Olympics, winning a gold medal, then coming back and he's not ready for the start of the season. Whatever they tell us, you're right. We always assume the worst because this is just the tip of the. It's like, a kid breaks a window and they come and tell you like, well, I kind of just cracked the window a little bit, and you go, what? And then you walk in there and the window is just completely blown out, and you're going, why didn't you just tell me it was this bad? But instead, the information just leaks out. Yeah,
it's bad. I mean, like, even think about it. Daryl Morey yesterday, a couple of days ago, he had that comment. And again, he had the comment like, we feel really confident about Joel, starting the season. And then all of a sudden there's an athletic report saying he has not been on the court. Well, then it basically came out and said that, well, he wasn't a full participant. But again, this could be semantics on what level he's doing stuff at.
Right.
But at the same time, it was one of those things where it was just a bad eye for Morey, and maybe he was saying everything right, but people just always assume. And I hate to repeat what you say, but it's just one of those things that right now the Sixers just have to build trust. And here's the thing I want to say about Paul George. When Paul George first came here, he talked about wanting to be like a closeout guy, a guy who could take some of the pressure off of Maxey, take stuff off of Embiid. And then all of a sudden, it's like he misses 41 games. And amid that time, he comes back out and says, all I have to do is get healthy and you guys can see what I can do. And now all of a sudden he's injured again. And now we're looking at it as if like they gave up all this money, like you said, for him. And is Paul George actually going to be a guy who can be a difference maker? Or did they give a lot of money to an often injured guy who's no longer able to complete a season? And, you have to wonder that, Mark. You do, because as much as if he's healthy and if he's playing at a level, he can help you. But right about now, we haven't seen it. And the 1 year that he played well, 2 years ago, was a contract year. And we all know that in every sport, there's always a guy busting their tail during a contract year to get that next payday. So the main question is, who is Paul George really going to be now? The banged up dude? Or is he going to be the guy who's playing at an elite level?
Yeah. I'm betting on the banged up dude. I'm not rooting for it, but I'm betting on it. And I hate to put that out there. If you're being real, if you're being real, if you're being real, like what's your educated guess here? What's your hypothesis with all the evidence that's been put in front of you as to whether or not Paul George and Joel Embiid are going to be healthy this season, and Paul George is going to be that closeout dude. He's going to be the guy to take pressure off Maxey, and maybe if Embiid's out there, pressure off him too. What in all honesty, the hypothesis is, oh yeah, no, that's not happening. the outlook on the Sixers is grim, and I don't want it to be. I want to see a parade, Keith. I want you to cover a parade for the Inquirer. I want to be down there interviewing people, just partying, having myself a great time, celebrating the 76ers. But it's not going to happen soon.
Dude, I just want to cover a conference championship. That's what I just want to cover a conference championship. Like
I'm gonna ask, yeah. That's look at you. I just want to cover shit. That's all I want. All right, I'm gonna ask you this question. All right, and you don't have to answer right away. We'll come back with it. Okay. All right. Okay. Who gets out of the second round of the playoffs first? Okay. The Philadelphia 76ers or the Philadelphia WNBA team that is not yet named, not yet been played, not yet played. You answer that question when we come back. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Who's the list now, Keith? Who's asking the tough questions now? All right. I'll answer. You can answer that when we come back. This is Locked On 76ers on the Locked On Sixers YouTube channel. Hey, let me tell you about FanDuel. You guys will be having a good time on FanDuel. Summer sports in full swing. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, maybe the All-Star game as well in baseball, high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every moment more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, has a fast payout as well. That's always important, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing the same game parlay bet or watching a bet right in the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. That's what FanDuel does. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5, just $5, and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. All right, who's making it out, Keith? The Liberty Bells, as I've seen the name.
Philadelphia Johns, I saw that too. That's
Philadelphia Johns. That's the team that nobody wants to play. Nobody wants to play the Johns. Some shady stuff's going to go down. You play the Johns. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't play the Johns. Wow, that's a good one. So that team is coming in 2030, right?
2030, Keith. Yes.
I'm glad I don't have to bet my house on this one.
I know, right?
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm enjoying this so much.
Well, no, because it's like, wow, it's really like, because you don't, if you want to be real, like, honestly, I want to say the other team, like the Philadelphia WNBA team, but you never know what that team's going to be like. So I'm going to have to say, but they're going to have pretty good players.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. So I don't know. I think it's going to be 32, 33. Right now, this is 25. So I will have to say the Sixers. Because I'm giving them 7 seasons. 7 seasons. I mean, seriously. I'm giving them 7 seasons.
I'll spot you 7 seasons. I'll spot you 7 seasons.
Yeah, I'm spotting them 7 seasons. Now, again, if they don't get it right now, the next 3 seasons after that is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But you would think that Tyrese Maxey will be towards maybe the end of his career, but then they'll have younger players. It'll be VJ Edgecombe. It will be Jared McCain. It will be, and then guys along with them. So they'll get rid of Joel Embiid's contract at that particular time. Paul George will be long gone. So they'll have a new general manager in place, the whole nine. So I think that at that particular time, I think that they should be fine. 7 seasons now.
Exactly. Sorry about this rabbit hole, but there's that world that within the next 5 or 7 seasons, they realize, like, wow, we really got to sell the house. We got to sell the farm. Maxey's got to be traded. Got to flip him for picks. VJ Edgecombe traded. Like, There's a world where this just completely goes and blows up. There's a world where this just is a horrible failure, more so than it's already been, and they got to completely revamp, rebuild, another process-esque type of awful run. Yeah. Meanwhile, the WNBA comes to town and they're amazing. No, but you don't know. You don't know. None of us know. All right. Speaking of, you mentioned VJ Edgecombe a couple of times there. Status for tonight, status for tomorrow night. Summer League obviously winding down for the Sixers in Vegas. What do you know? Anything changed with VJ Edgecombe?
Well, here's the deal. Like, VJ Edgecombe was a full participant at practice yesterday. The Sixers were basically raving over how he performed at practice. I mean, they were basically, the coach TJ DeLeo was basically saying he reminded them, and he was playing at practice like he did that first game. When they played against the Utah Jazz. So the thing is, typically a lot of times when it comes down to it, they want to know how your hand feels, right? If there's any like setbacks from the practice and everything like that before you were cleared. So, they didn't announce it that he was playing tonight or not, but the fact that he was a full participant, it makes it seem like hopeful. And you and I, we did talk about it. And you asked me the one time, what game, if you thought that there was a game that he would play, which one would it be? And I always said it would be tonight's game. Just because, they're going to play in the back-to-back. Tomorrow's night game is against Dallas. Tonight, you'll play this game. And then next thing you know, you have an excuse for sitting them the next game because they're playing it on a back-to-back. So to me, I feel like, VJ Edgecombe, could or most likely will play tonight. But again, I picked him to play beforehand, and guess what happened? The Sixers is like, you're wrong, Pompey. But based off of how they're saying he really wants to play, I also think that the NBA is like, look, y'all, he's playing against the Washington Wizards. They have young stars tonight, and he has not played at all. If he's able to play, you need to get him out there. So I do think that we'll see him tonight at 8:30 p.m. at Thomas and Mack going up against the Washington Wizards.
There we go. And look, I really want to watch him play. That's what this is all about. You have a top 3 pick in the summer league. You want to be able to watch him play. And I know we've talked about guys having struggles in the past. We've talked about guys having injuries in the past. Ben Simmons, the struggles Jared McCain had and all that you've mentioned many times. But with VJ Edgecombe, you saw him go out there. No, bringing the ball up, being a point guard, struggles. But 28 points, 10 rebounds, and showing that he absolutely had that fight in him throughout that game and was smart about it. I want to see more of this guy. I want to continue. Look, if you want to build any optimism surrounding the 76ers to where a question like, will a non-existent WNBA team make it to the second round before that? You want to throw that question out like, that's ridiculous. What a ridiculous question.
That's a real question.
It's a real question. But if you want to start throwing it away, getting it away from something like that, inspire some confidence in this fan base. There's Sixers fans are watching Summer League. They're especially going to watch if VJ Edgecombe is playing. Sixers fans are talking about it on social media. They're commenting on our show about it. They watch. They pay attention. Give us a little bit more hope than, Dom Barlow had a good game. You know what I mean? We want to see the number 3 overall pick continue to take those little steps forward when it comes to facilitating. We want to see him, work on the outside shooting. We want to see him just do what he does well, cut to the basket, show off his athleticism, pick a couple pockets. Just show me that. Just give me a little appetizer. That's it, a little appetizer. Give me this summer league play. Let me see him play at that high level and be the guy that he was in the only game he's played for the Sixers so far to this point, which is the best player on the floor.
Look, I'm going to read this to you. This is how the fans feel right about now. So yesterday morning at 8:21 a.m., I just got up and I was just wanting to, engage with the fans. So on Twitter, my Twitter handle is Pompey on Sixers, and I tweeted out, which summer Sixers player has impressed you the most in the NBA 2K26 Summer League? I only got 5 responses. One response was, "Are you serious, Keith? How can any part of slop be impressive?" Then the guy said, "VJ maybe, but that's done since he can't tape up his thumb to play." Now, and then some people liked it, but but the thing is, VJ didn't play in the summer league. He played in the other one. So then this one other guy comes back and says, "I stopped watching after VJ got injured. Sounds like I made the right choice," right? And then another guy says, "Absolutely no one. Why McCain didn't play is out of my comprehension scope." So it's weird. And normally when I do stuff like that, you get a lot of responses. Isn't that only 5 people? Other people are like, "You're an idiot. What are you talking about? No one's watching this." So if VJ, I'm telling you, if VJ does play, they're going to get a lot of people watching this game.
Oh, sure.
Especially in the Philly area,
Yeah. I see comments that are definitely suggest they watch. For how long is questionable.
Yeah.
But yeah, if VJ Edgecombe plays, then yeah, at least you're talking about something somewhat interesting of at least seeing him play at a professional level and hopefully continue to show off why he was picked at number 3 overall. And hopefully you get the opportunity to watch that tonight. When we come back, Keith, I want to break down some of the untradeables. And I also want to talk about an article you wrote over the weekend. I think it was Sunday's edition on Inquirer.com when it comes to the 76ers essentially running it back. And yes, unfortunately, injuries and all, running it back. We'll talk about that and more when we return. This is Locked On 76ers podcast. Hey, let me tell you about Hungry Root. This just makes life so much simpler. Hungry Root, because let's be honest, meal planning, grocery shopping can be overwhelming between busy schedules, picky eaters maybe, and trying to eat healthy. It's a lot. That's why I love Hungry Root. They take all the stress out of planning by filling your cart for you with personalized groceries and meal options based on what you like and what you need. Hungry Root uses their smart cart technology to recommend groceries, recipes, and even supplies tailored to your preferences. How about that? Whether you're dairy-free, gluten-free, focused on your gut health, or just trying to eat better, Hungry Root has you covered. You take a little quiz, tell you what you like, tell you what you don't like, and they'll do the shopping for you. It's just that easy. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box plus 1 free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Use promo code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. So check out hungryroot.com. So, Keith, just to get to the untradeables here, Joel Embiid, Paul George. I know there are people that are going to be throwing it around out there. Nobody is taking either of these players at any point, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see that. I think maybe, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. No.
All right. Now, the Sixers, as you pointed out in your article over the weekend, they're essentially running it back. They're looking at guys on the Summer League team that are certainly auditioning, Judah Mintz being one of them, Jalen Hood-Schifino being another. Justin Edwards obviously playing in the Summer League. VJ Edgecombe, we all know, is going to make the team, all that. Jedi Broom, Trent Wofford not playing in the Summer League, but going to be on the squad. Other than that, Sixers right now are running it back essentially with the same cast of characters, and 2 of those main characters, unfortunately, have been banged up for much of the last 2 seasons, in particular, Paul George and Joel Embiid. Is this the plan? Is this the real plan the Sixers have to actually attempt to compete in the Eastern Conference?
You know what? I think they don't have any other option right now. And see, part of the problem is, and we talked about this, this is part of the reason why they couldn't bring back Gershon Yabusele, because, well, they don't have the money. Now, the deal is you could have brought him back, but you didn't want to bring him back because you're going after Quentin Grimes. And even the 2 guys you talked about, like Judah Mintz and Hood-Schifino, they may one of them may get a training camp invite, but aside from that, they're not going to make the team because when you look at the 76ers right now, they have 14 players, right? On the regular season, I'm talking about 14 standard contract players. During the regular season, you're only allowed to carry 15. So who is that? That's Quentin Grimes. But when you look at it, they have no other choice, because the reason being is Joel Embiid is making $55.2 million. You can't trade him. Paul George is making $51.6 million. He just came off of another surgery, so you can't get rid of him. And then, Tyrese Maxey, that's not a problem, but he's making $37.9 million. So these three guys ate up your cap space big time, right? So they have no other choice but to run it back with these guys. Some people may have argued that you say to yourself, like, well, why you bring back Kyle Lowry, 39, who's making $3.6 million, but is 2.2 on the books, and why you bringing back Eric Gordon, who's making 3.6 but is 2.2 on the books? You could go out and get Hood Schifino. You could get Judah Mintz. But honestly, do we honestly think that those two guys at this stage of their career are better than Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon? You know what I mean? If you got to ask yourself that question, then maybe not, right? But at the same time, so to me, it's like the Sixers are in a bad spot because of the contracts that were given last season. It set them back. So it's either you win a championship or you get egg in your face. You know what I mean? Because it's bad. It's really bad. They don't have the flexibility to move on and get a guy who will make it. Because let's face it, if you're going to trade Joel Embiid, you probably want an all-star type of player, all NBA type of player to come back. You're not going to get that, and you might not get anything really substantial for him because teams are fearful of being stuck with that contract.
Absolutely. I continue to have this thought that Daryl Morey just really, really wanted to drive cross-country, and he had it made up in his mind, the kind of car he was going to drive. And the mechanic kept telling him, no, these cars are kind of rusted out, man. You don't want to drive this one. He's like, no, it's my dream to drive this car. I don't think you want to do that. All right, here's $50 million. Give me that car. Actually, like $150 million. Give me that car. And then you can't get that. You can't go from Philly to California, man, with what you got right now.
Exactly.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I know it's not just Daryl Morey in that car. It's everybody else. It's all of Sixers Nation. It's all of Sixers fan base wanting this team to get over the hump, and it's just not looking likely in the very near future, unfortunately.
And the crazy thing is, I'm going to just say this before we end, too, and I apologize, but the crazy thing is, Mark, it's kind of like when you look at it, everything that he did was he gambled, right? But when you gamble, sometimes you're thinking, I'm gambling because, it's going to be better off in the long run. Like, it would have, Joel Embiid is a guy that most likely you think you're going to give him an extension. If you waited another year, you see how these guys are making this crazy money, right? So if you wait another year, then you have to give him one of those like even more expensive contracts, right? So you're like, okay, I'm going to pay him soon. I'm going to pay him early. But then all of a sudden he only plays 19 games. And you're like, oh, brother, I really messed that up. Paul George and LeBron James actually it was Tyrese Maxey was the number one free agent, but he was restricted. Everybody knew he was coming back to the Sixers. Aside from that, it was Paul George and LeBron James. So you go out and think, I won the summer by getting Maxey, re-signing him, and getting Paul George, and then the wheels fall off on the ball. So you're like, man, I really messed up. Now, if everything would have gone right, then Daryl Morey, everybody's talking about Morey's a genius. He's a genius. But since they went, the opposite, now people are like, bro, I got to get out of Philly, man. Like, that joint right there, you saying that joint right there has messed up the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because they bet on the James Harden horse. That didn't work out. I mean, they bet on the Ben Simmons horse. That didn't work out. They bet on the James Harden horse. And at that, I mean, even go back to Markel Fultz. But when you talk about Daryl Morey's free agent acquisitions or trades, talking about James Harden, talking about Paul George, and the extension of Joel Embiid has not worked out. Sorry, Sixers fans. But hey, we both think VJ Edgecombe's going to play tonight in Summer League, so that's exciting. Anyway, Keith Pompey, make sure you guys are reading all this stuff on Inquirer.com. I'm Marc Farzetta. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow with another edition of 76ers, Locked On 76ers. And hopefully, yes, we will be talking about VJ Edgecombe participating in a Summer League game tonight. Talk to you guys then. See ya.